stop lowballing yourself. I get people are struggling right now, but there is someone who is going to pay your rate. They are going to pay your rate. I say stick with your rate, and if they can't afford it, give them a payment plan or something, but get your money. Like, don't lowball yourself. You're putting so much. This thing, you having a camera that's like 1 or 2 bands, right? Or even more. And you got to buy a laptop. You got to have editing software. All that shit builds up. And you're only charging $200 for a photo shoot. And you still got to retouch and edit and all that kind of stuff. Bro, get your money back. Get your money back.
Hey, I'm your host, Kosh. This is the Creative Breakthrough Podcast. This podcast was created to give artists the codes to build audiences, cash flow, and make a living doing what they love. Ultimately, I'm here to eliminate the starving artist. That's my mission. So, today's guest is not a starving artist. Her name is Inari, and she is a editorial and commercial photographer.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
So, for the people who are unfamiliar with you, how would you describe yourself in one word?
Vibrant?
Okay.
Maybe. Vibrant?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I would have to ask people. I would have to ask people because people.
No, I think vibrant is solid.
Yeah.
I think vibrant is a solid word. Okay, and then how would you describe yourself in one sentence?
Okay, the sentence. Did she really just say that? Yeah, that would be my sentence.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's really good. I've never had somebody use a phrase before for that answer, so I think that's cool. Okay, so tell me how or when, well, I guess both. You'll probably end up telling me how, but when do you think you achieved your first creative breakthrough?
Oh my God, that's a good question. And when you say creative breakthrough, do you mean like when I first realized this was it, or what do you mean?
Well, that might be part of it, but it could also be like when you did something and you saw that it was working,
Mm,
and you're like, I should
mm.
keep doing this.
Okay, I had my creative breakthrough when let's see, which one would it be? Jesus, that's a good question. When it was actually, I think maybe during the pandemic is when I had my creative breakthrough because I was already doing photography, but I was feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere. But during the pandemic, I remember when we were all on lockdown, my creative team that I had, we all decided to break the lockdown and go shoot. And the content we were constantly creating, it was just so dope. And I realized, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then the fact that I had a 9 to 5 at that point, I was just, yeah, no, this is not it. So yeah, I think that's when I had my full blown creative breakthrough.
That's a great story. So what started that like confidence into like fuck the pandemic, we're gonna do this?
So the year before, I was in this really bad relationship, and I stopped doing photography for like maybe 6, 7 months because I lost that drive. And so because relationships will do that to you sometimes, but it didn't benefit me. But then I realized when I was in the pandemic, I saw all of my colleagues posting content, getting really creative, and I was like doing like iPhone shoots and all that. And I was just, I mean, that's cool, but I don't really care for that kind of stuff. I just decided, I wanted to just do what I was destined to do. And I had to really talk to myself and talk to God or the universe, whatever people believe, and just be like, if this is really it, show me. And he showed me. And honestly, the pandemic was probably like the best year, honestly, for me, because it transitioned a lot of things in my life. Things started taking off way more. And each year has been bigger than the next.
I love that. I think that was the year that we first worked together too, right? I believe. Yeah. And I would say I align with you in regards to like the God, obviously God, but also like just things changing. I felt like a lot of people had terrible COVID experiences. I got COVID a bunch of times. It sucked, but my like life was not sucking. So the first thing happens, right? You're like, God, show it to me, and then he does, and then you're like, okay, people are doing creative things around me, so I need to like tap back into that because that's what I am. But like, what did that end up being? Like, what did that shoot end up being?
I did a shoot with my friend. She's a trainer, and I wanted to do like a kind of like a Nike inspired sports type of shoot. And so I did that. And then after I started doing storybooks, or that's what I call it on my website. And we decided that we were going to go to Little Arabian Mountain. I was watching this video, Telephone with Beyonce and Lady Gaga, and I loved everything about it. And I kind of made my own rendition of it within my shoot. And so I picked this girl named Anu. She's a really amazing dark skinned model. Me and her actually went viral back when I was in college, and that photo still surfaces everywhere. It's crazy. But we decided to just go to Little Arabian Mountain and just shoot and get really creative. And we went to the antique stores and found all these different telephones. And my friend Kitara, she designed the outfits. It was an amazing experience, but it was like one of my favorite shoots. And there was this one shot that we had where she was on the phone, but this butterfly just flew out of nowhere and I caught it perfectly. It was freaking amazing. I'm so obsessed with that picture.
Okay, so that was like your turning point for your career, and then everything started leveling up for you. As you built your like career as a photographer, what did you fail at?
Inconsistent sometimes. I don't think I was that consistent. I really wish I could have been, but life just happens and you can't control. Sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't. Things happen, finances happen, and you're just kind of like, I need to make a sacrifice and figure out what is what. Life happens with your family. You got to figure out if this is worth your energy or not. So I would say consistency would probably be my biggest failure. But I've also learned recently that sometimes it's not about consistency, it's about just doing the work and just making sure it gets done, even if you have to take time to get it done.
Well, I think because there's pockets, right, with things, and it's almost like being an artist and then creating art all the time may not actually be beneficial for you to actually make the best art. So
Exactly.
there's like a strange give and take because it's like I know I have to be consistent in order for people to know who I am, but also I want to put out work that I like putting out. So
Exactly.
this brings me to my next question, which is like, what are three systems or strategies that you use to break through, but more so in relation to like, how did you turn photography into a career?
So networking is one. Networking with any and everybody because you never know who you're going to meet and who knows who that could open the door for you in that situation. Being confident in your work because there's shoots that I hate that I posted, but people love it. Probably one of people's most favorite things that I've done. So just being confident in any and everything that you do because it's your work at the end of the day. It's what you're putting out, what you produce. And clearly I liked it enough to put it out there for people to see. And then my third would probably be research and just understanding one, the OGs before you who's done whatever craft you're in, because they might know something that you've been trying to figure out for the longest. But if you don't look it up and take a look at it, you won't know. But then also just knowing, and I kind of guess that goes hand in hand with also networking, but knowing who is who, just not to be opportunistic, not at all, but just to have an understanding of that person and what they do. So that way you don't go in one looking crazy, like, some people, I'm not gonna say people don't have egos, but some people, I guess they expect you to know, even if you don't. But you don't want to approach someone as if you don't know what you're talking about, because the moment you do, people can take advantage of that. So, that also goes back in hand with confidence. But research, confidence.
Networking. What you said about research, it seems to be intertwined a bit with like understanding the business of what you're doing too. As you started to like implement those things, what stuck out first when it came to like going to the next level? Was it networking? Like which thing took you there? And now I know like you do a lot of research because you can tell by the type of content you put out. But is there like one thing that happened outside of just 2020 that was like, oh yeah,
Networking was the number one thing. Networking has gotten me in so many doors that I would have never even thought I would be in because, for one, so the pandemic, of course, we're on lockdown. But when I tell you Clubhouse around that time was like the biggest thing, and I took advantage of that. I luckily ended up having Clubhouse before people all started getting it. And when I tell you, I was meeting people that I never would have thought I would meet in my life ever. And so when I was on there, we just had conversations. So people actually got to know me through my voice. And I was able to have work to back it up because I knew that I was good at what I was doing because I was doing it for so long. Like I've been in this game for 9 years, but like I said, it wasn't until the pandemic that I really was like, okay, I really got to keep going and pushing. But I was on there. I met so many different people, not even really realizing that these people were people that could put me in these different places and avenues. And one in particular was Verzuz. So a friend of mine, her name is Paige, she put my name in the ring to be the photographer for the Verzuz thing for Ciroc. And I would have never known. Well, of course, we knew that Jeezy and Gucci, that was like the biggest beef ever in Atlanta, one of the biggest beefs. And so I didn't think that people were going to actually put me in that position. And she did. So when I was able to do it, I went and put my best foot forward. But it wasn't honestly until I actually got caught on live because my hair was so big curly, which is usually how it is, that people recognized me. And then because people recognized me, they were expecting amazing pictures. And when they saw the photos, it lived up to what was happening. And so that definitely started it. And then after that, I was working with Ciroc multiple other times. And then from me working with Ciroc and then meeting the people that were at these writing camps or these little things that they had me at, that led me into other doors. But then also just meeting people on Instagram and becoming friends with them unintentionally. But meeting them and then them putting you indoors. Like I had a friend named Meek. She's a plus size model. She's beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, everything. But she we met and she was shooting with Savage Fenty. And so we did a couple of shoots for them that was on their website. And I ended up meeting one of the creatives. And so I told her, keep me in mind if there's any projects. And when they did, they reached out to me and asked me to do one of their campaigns. And I did one of their campaigns. I would have never thought I was shooting would be shooting for Savage Fenty. It wasn't like the most creative project, but the fact that I could put my name on that project and put it on my resume, it will open doors to other things. Listen, it's a whole just like trail of just stuff. Things just happen.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that with when we worked together too, because Paige was one of my clients, and then she had a job with Jameson, and then she was like, "I want Inari as my photographer," and I was like, "All right." So then you came in and you killed it, and so I want, and I mean, obviously you've killed it in other regards to photography and other aspects and other events and other moments, right? Like you just talked about with Versus, but what is it that moves you in that way on every job?
I treat every job like it's the last time I'm going to do this job because anybody can have the job, but y'all gave it to me. And so because you gave it to me, I have to show you why I deserve this job every time. At one point, I never thought about it like that. I would just, because it was a type of job that it was, I didn't really like it. But then I realized I need to stop thinking that way. And I actually have to put my best foot forward and shoot like I know how to do it. Because I don't want it to ever be a thing where my personal work is good, but my client work is not good. Because people will notice that and people will not fuck with that at all. So, like I said, I definitely wanted to put my best foot forward. So I always treat every shoot like it's my last time shooting. But then also, I'm 5'3", and let's keep it $150. This is a male dominated industry, and I've had so many moments in my career where men have stumped all over me. They tried to overshadow me. They tried to make it seem like I was not this person that I like. What Because I'm a photographer, they tried to throw me like, oh, she's just a photographer. She ain't doing this and that. But then when they see my resume, then they're like, oh my God, how did you get this? How did you get that? I have to show them that I'm built for this shit because I am. And so with that, I go in every time reminding people I'm built for this shit. I do this. This is my career. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then some.
No, I love that because that's something that I would always tell my team ahead of time is like, I would just look at each individual person. I would be like, you do this and you do this and you do this, right? That's really like a bar for confidence, right? Where does that confidence come from for you?
I think it started happening when I started becoming more confident in my own stuff. Because sometimes I've had moments where I would do a job and it wouldn't come out the way that I expected, but it was experimental. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna rock with it. But when things started coming out exactly the way that I wanted it, because I kept working at it, I was like, oh, you can't tell me shit now. Like, I'm about to come in and just fuck this shit up because I can. And I'm constantly learning every single shoot that I do. And so every shoot that I have, the next shoot, I'm using what I learned before and applying it to what I'm doing now. And with that, I'm just like, all right, cool. This is it. And so now I'm about to come in because I've done this before and I'm about to make it better. And then also, honestly, the opportunities that they are. Because I'm like, oh my God, y'all want me? When I tell you every single time I get a really dope opportunity, I'm always shocked. And my friends will sit there and say to me, why are you shocked, sis? You are really good at this. Why are you shocked? And I'm like, because I'm just shocked. Like, I know I'm confident in what I do, but I'm also very appreciative of the opportunities that I get because not everybody has the life that I have. I don't have the same life as other people. And they can look at me on paper and say, oh, she does this, that, cool. But they don't know what I have going on in my life. They don't know the struggles that I deal with. So when I'm going through those struggles, and then I start seeing that my work that I've been doing is not in vain, I'm like, yeah, I'm shook and I'm happy and I'm going to treat this like an opportunity that I will never ever get again. Because yes, people say you should be confident in your work, but also be humble and remember where you came from because they can take it so fast. I've had opportunities could that were taken from me, not because I wasn't good at it, but maybe I just wasn't ready for it in that moment, you know? So
So really just not taking anything for granted. I think
at all.
that's such a great point to make because it's easy to get comfortable in a new level. And you're like, yeah, like I do this shit and it keeps happening because I do it, but I'm also like very grateful for every moment, right? And I think that's a practice in so many different things. Like it's almost like a moving meditation.
This year was such an eye-opening year for me. I went through the ringer this year. I finally moved into my first apartment without roommates on my own. I had money struggles. I've dealt with so much. I've dealt with men trouble. I've dealt with everything. And so this year, yes, it taught me balance. I had to learn how to balance the things in my life so that way I can move forward the way that I needed to. I had so many amazing opportunities. There's been moments this year that I didn't book anything. And luckily I had savings, but even the savings wasn't enough. But I've had so many amazing opportunities thrown at me, and it made me appreciative of what I've done and what I'm getting. Because this was also my first year as a full-time photographer. This is my first time doing this without a 9 to 5. And so it's not easy, especially because when I had my 9 to 5 and I was shooting, I had my I did my work and then I scheduled accordingly so I could have time to rest, but also get my work done. But now I have so much free space that I gotta fill up and figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with it. And it's not easy. And so I would have these distractions that were not benefiting me or not being of value to me. And I realized when I started getting those opportunities again, it was like, okay, you have this. Now remember what's important. If you want to keep getting these things, you got to really figure out what you want and what you don't want. I realized people this year didn't value me the way that I thought. I've lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of everything, but it's life, you know? So a lot of things that happened to me this year, it definitely set the tone for how I'm going to come next year. And especially the work that I did recently, like within the past 2 months. Cool. 2023, it's coming, man. It's coming. Okay. I done a lot. I cannot wait for everything to drop.
Well, I appreciate like that's not always an easy thing to talk about, and it leads me into my next question. But I appreciate your transparency and honesty about that because I think a lot of creatives are in similar spaces, especially the thing you said about freedom, right? So it's like, do you value freedom or stability more? You first have to make that choice as a creative.
Exactly. Exactly. I really love stability, but I also know that with stability, really do have to have balance because at being an entrepreneur, there's going to be times where you're not making any money. There's going to be times where you're not getting booked or whatever your job is. There's something that you're just not getting at all. But freedom is definitely a privilege. I hate to say it like that, but it is a privilege. And so because I'm an entrepreneur, with that freedom, I have to use that freedom very lightly, if that makes sense. Like I have to really be specific about how I'm going to use that freedom that I do have, especially when the stability is not really there. But you can make a way to be stable. If you can make a way for yourself to be stable, it might not be the traditional 9 to 5 route, especially if you're an entrepreneur, but you got to really find a way to make it work. so that way you don't stress out on any end at all.
How did you fill that newfound free time that you got? How were you able to fill that?
I had to use my schedule a lot. I did my calendar a lot. I had to really find a way to build a routine for myself because there are so many things. Like, of course, I have to take care of myself, my personal life, but then also my work life. And I have to give myself certain times to do certain things and just be prepared for things sometimes not being the way that it needs to. But I spent a lot of time just trying to, honestly, this year, trying to figure it out. Like I said, I went through a lot of struggles, a lot of um, mental and emotional things. I've had a lot of like generational trauma that I had to break when I discovered what it was, realizing like my own toxic traits and things that I didn't like about myself that I needed to really fix. But the moment I started discovering that and kind of doing like the shadow work and whatnot, it became a lot more clear for me and my mind was a lot more focused on what needed to be done. So I started trying to build a routine for myself to try and give myself time to get a lot of things that need to be done, but then also giving myself time to keep learning new things about myself.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I feel similarly about that. But what it sounds like is that you tapped into like your self awareness and you were like, look, I'm good at these things, but also I'm lacking in these areas. And how do I change what I actually can change in order for me to feel, like we said earlier, balanced and also be able to come from a foundational standpoint, I think.
Exactly. I feel like that's important. I honestly feel like mental health is like the biggest thing that you need to deal with in order for you to be able to handle the type of job that you may or may not get. I knew that I wanted to do certain things with my life. I knew the kind of jobs that I wanted, the kind of brands I wanted to work with. But I knew that if I did not get my emotions in check, if I didn't get my mental health in check, it's not going to be easy. Because the thing about it is, the kind of work that I've been doing, you have to have a very thick skin. And if you don't have a thick skin and you let it bother you, they're not going to ask for you to come back. They're not. They're not going to want to work with someone that they deem difficult. They're not going to want to deal with anyone who is not reliable because they're letting other things get in the way of situations. I've also learned that communication is best. Not communicating to the point where you are making yourself seem like you're incapable of doing these things, but just speaking up and being vocal about what you can and cannot do ahead of time, just so that way both you and your client both have an understanding of what is and what isn't, you know? So I definitely feel like when you can really hone in on your emotions and hone in on self and not let these jobs make you that person, like not it be your personality, you accept things a lot differently. You take things in a lot differently. You work a lot differently. So
Yeah, I totally agree. And you've been on enough sets to know as well, which I'm glad you brought up some of the things you brought up because my next question is really about how do you make money as a photographer? Like doing what you love. Like what it's a general and it's a specific question.
so I also had a rep this year too. And so I would typically, I don't know, I personally, a lot of these clients reached out to me. And so it was more so just negotiating prices, what the budget was, what you have to ask, especially if you have a specific rate and you don't want to lowball yourself. I would typically ask them what their budget is and what things are looking like. And then if they have a budget or if they don't have a budget, I would myself or my rep would budget out what we need for specific things if you're trying to get a full blown production for a shoot. I feel like some more oftentimes than not, shoots are not just picking up your camera and just taking a picture. It's a whole blown out production, just like how it is in film and cinema. You have to really break everything down for what you need, and in order for you to create the kind of content that you want to create. I mean, yes, you can nigger rig it and make it, you know, make it shake with a little small budget, but why when you can profit off of all the amount of work that you have to do anyway? So typically I would ask them what my budget is, what their budget is. I would break it down for what I need for specific things. And then if it's either they're going to say yes or they're going to say no. Oftentimes they say yes because they specifically want to work with me. And that's just what it is. I have moments where I may or may not do like discounts and things like that. But that's just if I'm really feeling like charitable, I guess. I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, no, a lot of them have really just honestly came to me. But honestly and truly, you literally have to keep shooting and not be still be safe in what you're shooting and be comfortable in what you're shooting. You have to really step outside the box. If you want to shoot for bold, you got to shoot bold material. You want to shoot for the Hollywood Reporter, you got to shoot Hollywood Reporter material. And so throughout the time that I've been doing that, I've been shooting things that represent the kind of stuff that I want to shoot. So like, let's say you're doing weddings, but you're only doing weddings for money, but you really want to do editorial work. You got to show editorial work. That's just what it is. And if people just so happen to ask if you do weddings, put it on your website, but not on your social media. Put it on your website so people can see it then, and then you can make money that way. But I also started stepping in front of the camera more and trying to push myself that way, and decided to start sending my EPKs for brands and with things that I shoot, pictures of me, what I can and can't do, and just sending it and putting myself out there and just seeing what I get back. It's honestly, it's such a yes or no type of game. Like it's either they're gonna say yes or they're gonna say no.
Yeah, you're building complementary skills
Mhm.
and you're pushing yourself in areas that you want to, like you're pushing the work to a place where you want it to be, right?
Mhm.
I think that's great, especially like the complementary skills is like I negotiate, I have a rep, we
Mhm.
go through the whole process. It's like I'm not just a photographer, like I'm a negotiator, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm a couple of different things in order for me to even do the thing that I want to do. You gave a lot of good points, especially when it comes to like negotiating and also like what actually goes into capturing the thing
Mhm.
that you want to capture and then standing firm on whatever that price is because they know that you can provide that thing. And that comes from just putting the work out there.
And honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck 50. I hate if the photographers do discount. I hate it.
Mhm.
Stop lowballing yourself. I get people are struggling right now, but there is someone who is going to pay your rate. They are going to pay your rate. I say stick with your rate, and if they can't afford it, give them a payment plan or something. But get your money. Like, don't lowball yourself. You're putting so much. This thing, you having a camera that's only one or two bands, right? Or even more, and you got to buy a laptop, you got to have editing software, all that shit builds up, and you're only charging $200 for a photo shoot, and you still got to retouch and edit and all that kind of stuff. Bro, get your money back. Get your money back. And you're doing on location. You got to walk. You got to get sweaty. You got to get dirty. You in the studio. You got to put your shit up. You got to put the lights up. You got to put the backdrop down. You got to change it. You got to switch it up. You got to wait for them to do their makeup in here. Get the fuck out of here. Get your money. Like, seriously, stop doing the discount. Stop. If you want to do a discount, I ain't doing it because you're trying to be nice right now. And you just feeling very charitable. That's it. Like, stick to your prices. Do not lower your price. Honestly, make that price go up because there are people who are charging thousands of dollars and probably ain't even got the same kind of work that I do, but they are making bank. So do the same. Get your money.
I think that's what we're going to call the podcast. Get your money.
Yeah. Okay. Get it. All right.
Okay, so all that I have left to ask you is tell people how they can connect with you when they're not on Instagram.
Okay. You can connect with me on Twitter because I stay tweeting a lot. I tweet a lot. So everything is at Inari Brianna.
Is there any other important rants that you want to make at this moment? Not saying you ranted before, but is there a rant that you would like to make at this moment regarding creative careers or photography?
Good question because I got a lot, but I'm gonna figure out one. Let's see. Please step out of your comfort zone. Just because you see one photographer doing the style of photography does not mean that you have to do the exact same thing and think that's what people want. Build your own style. The moment you do that, people will try to emulate you. Set the tone for yourself. Don't fall into other people's path and think that's where the path that you have to go to. It's so much easier said than done, but don't do it.
But yeah, thank you again for your time. This is the Creative Breakthrough Podcast. The goal is to eliminate the starving artist. And I hope that we were able to give you some tools to do that for yourself in your own life today. If you want to be tapped into this, you can join every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Instagram Live, or you can just subscribe on all podcasting platforms, Creative Breakthrough.